It's time again to turn your PEZ toys into USB flash drive stunners. I've been asked so many times to present something other than Thomas conversions. I was also asked to show this mod using a standard size USB flash drive. I'll also look at the very tiny flash drives and how they can make these kind of conversions so simple now. Because this is an instructional video, here comes that really boring bit. All my methods in this video use hand tools and basic materials, hot melt glue and super glue, some blue tack, craft saw, screwdriver, files, pencil and knife, some of that fancy blue tape that doesn't stick too well, and a small table vise. If you want to make your life easy, a Dremel tool with a cut-off disc and sanding wheel really helps, but you won't see the power tools being used in this video. The PEZ theme I've chosen is Cars 2, so there's Lightning McQueen, Mater and Finn McMissile. The USB flash drive is a standard size 4GB drive. Total cost of a PEZ and one flash drive was around $10. Let's do Lightning McQueen. This video shows my first conversion attempt, so I'm learning along the way. The bottom plastic easily separates from the car body. It's pretty clear this size flash drive will need some work to hide it inside this car. So I crack open my flash drive and do a rough size up using blue tack. I start to see what needs to be removed and start marking out some areas to cut, remembering measure twice and cut once. Now's probably a good time to understand the orientation of your flash drive. Most of the time the seam side is regarded as the underneath of your flash drive. Before I start to clamp and cut, I protect the car's body with that blue tape. Using a small square file, I carefully remove the marked out area, always checking for fit. Now let's see from that underside plastic, what can I use next? And let's look at the front wheels. I'm pretty sure I can use the front wheels if I cut them away from the bulk of the underside plastic. The rear wheels will need a special fix later on. And after some careful cutting and filing, the front wheel plastic fits well and it also supports the drive circuit board. I will cut a little notch into the plastic to seat the drive at the right level. And this now has the drive seated well inside the car's body, and I can move on and see how I'm going to cover the drive and add the back wheels to this car. The most obvious thing to me was to cover the flash drive on the underside of the car with the flash drive's original cover. I dare say you could smother it in hot melt glue as well if you wanted to. Anyway, I measured up, marked out and cut the cover in half. And after checking for fit, I see it collides with the front wheel plastic, so I'll need to cut a curve into that to make everything fit square. So after some more careful filing, I can do another fit out and it all starts to line up and everything's starting to neatly fall into place. I dare say you're wondering why I didn't just whack the whole USB drive into this small toy car, but I felt if I did that I'd have to remove large amounts of material from inside this car. I know these PEZ toys become very brittle once you start removing lots of plastic inside. Let's move on to fitting the back wheels, and quite simply I cut off the wheels from the remaining plastic from underneath and prepare them to be put into place. Now it's time to glue this little red buggy together. So it's hello super glue and hot melt glue. I start with the front wheels, applying liberal amounts of super glue and fix the wheels in, making sure I see that all the surfaces have signs of glue around them. Next, using super glue again, the USB flash drive lands into position and I make sure it's held into place until it's dry. I also check and make sure that there's glue around all the contact surfaces. And now for the bottom cover, I use a combination of super glue and up the sides I use hot melt glue, which does a double act of securing the drive and cover in place. Working as quickly as I can, I secure the cover in place and make sure it's all the way home, next to those back wheels, and I rough up the plastic where the wheels are going to be glued in. It's really important to have excellent keying between these glued parts, and I go in and add a dollop of super glue, making sure the wheel arches also get a touch. When I put those back wheels on, I make sure I can see glue beading out around all the contact surfaces. And finally underneath, I add super glue as a filler between gaps and I fill it in around those rear wheels. So here's Lightning McQueen finished. He's a bit rough around the edges as he's the first one I built. The learning curve endured on this model helped me heaps in the next two conversions. Finn McMissile was number 2. He's a much tidier finish overall. The shape of the rear of this car really suits this drive. I also gave him a much wider set of rear tyres. Mater was by far the most difficult, and the only option I could find was to set the drive at the front. Again, there's a curve here which suits this drive. The rear section of this model is far too thin to hide a flash drive. If you're prepared to splash out when buying a flash drive, there are very compact styles now available. This very tiny 8GB drive cost me $40, and it would have been perfect for the Thomas PEZ conversions I did a while back. The real question here is, can you justify attaching a $3 toy to a $40 flash drive? Let's do so via the Mr. Men PEZ toys. And let's choose the one that I aspire to, and that's Mr. Happy. On a PEZ toy, the area where the candy dispenser resides always has the same dimensions, and on this PEZ, there's absolutely no way I could hide the inexpensive standard size flash drive, no matter what I chop and change. The tiny Atom flash drive will fit easily, but I'll need to do a small amount of filing to slide the drive into a nice position. The PEZ plastic is easy to file, and I carefully work away, always checking for fit. And after a very short time, I have a really secure fit for my small and expensive flash drive, which now can be glued into Mr. Happy. As silly as this looks, I can assure you a Mr. Happy flash drive will brighten any computer environment. Now, I could have used that tiny Atom flash drive in my car's characters, but remember, I was asked to show a method using standard size drives. As you have seen, if you do install inexpensive large flash drives, you'll have to be prepared to do some work to do so. I'm in no way dictating this is the only methods available. Hopefully I can land some ideas so you can create your own custom USB drive using your favourite PEZ theme. There's nothing boring about a USB flash drive once it's teamed up with a PEZ toy.